So in part one, we got everything cut out, ready to sew together this beautiful rainbow check dress. Now, since then, I have attached my pocket bags and I've done my darts, just so that it's all ready so that we can attack this first seam to be done. Now, this is the center back seam. So I'm going to bring those raw edges together and I'm going to place my pins, what I refer to as vertically. They're pointing at the seam, they're at a right angle to the seam. And the reason for that is because they are going to hold those stripes firm. So I'm going to painstakingly pin this all the way down, making sure that where I place my pin on one side is in the exact same position on the other side. The pinning is key to this. Then before we begin sewing, we're going to pop our stitch length all the way up to 5. You want it on the longest stitch length so that we can tack this before we sew. And then we're just going to sew down this seam following our seam allowance guide. Now, if you're not happy sewing over the pins, just whip them out last minute. It's going to still hold everything firm whilst you're going. So with it all sewn up, let's take a little look at how I've done. Now, for the most part, this is looking really, really good. There's a small section in the middle that doesn't look like it's quite lined up. And the thing with that is that's the bit we're going to undo and just readjust. You can either decide to just leave it and that you're happy with it how it is, or what I'm going to do in this case is I'm just going to unpick this wrong section and re-sew it. Never unpick something that's right. The seams don't have to be continuous. We're just going to fix this middle section that's not quite fully aligned. So I'm just going to unpick this section in the middle that I'm not 100% happy with, and then I'll pin it and sew it exactly like I did before. Now, after the second go, this is looking much better. Now, the eagle-eyed viewers amongst you may notice that vertically, this pattern match isn't actually correct. It's actually missing one of the stripes. Now, this does not bother me enough to go in and fix by making a slightly smaller seam allowance. That would be all it needed. It's up to you how finicky you want to be about your pattern matching because it's your sewing. You get to decide how accurate you need things to be for you to be happy with it. Things don't have to be perfect and nothing you buy in the shop ever is. Now I'm just going to move on now to doing the side seams. So we're going to follow the exact same process we did before on that back seam, but there are a few things to note. One, this is a curved seam, so it's not going to vertically line up. We're just trying to focus on getting those stripes running horizontally together. Secondly, there's a horizontal bust dart, so the first couple of inches are not going to match up either. Focus on the section that will. If things like this happen where the pocket is ever so slightly out of alignment, focus on the pattern matching. Your pocket will cope with being a little smaller. Similarly, it will also cope with being a little bit shorter if when you get to the hem, things aren't quite aligned there either. As I'm doing my tacking stitch on this side seam, I'm not going around the pocket. I'm just going to tack it closed and I'll reopen it later once the whole thing is all sewn together. And then once you've finally sewn it all together and undone any of your tacking that you need to, do not forget to marvel in your mastery. It is arguably the most important step in the process.